Here is the next part of my journey to get diagnosed with follicular lymphoma. So, going back to when I had my appendix out, when I went into the hospital, my number one complaint was abdominal pain. About a couple hours before I went into the hospital, I felt as if somebody had just taken a baseball bat or clubbed me in the stomach. And the pain became so bad and it started to travel down into the lower right part of my abdomen. And so at that point, I'm like, okay, this is probably appendicitis. A couple of reasons that I kind of suspected that was because on my mom's side of the family, for some reason, it's not really hereditary, but on my mom's side of the family, almost all of the women have had their appendix out about the age of 28, 30 some years old. And then a number of the male relatives have chronic appendicitis. And coincidentally, some of my relatives live in Canada. So in Canada, they don't take out the appendix as quickly as they might here in America. So they have chronic appendicitis, my Canadian relatives. So I went into the hospital. I did not have a fever. I had thrown up like a few hours before. I didn't feel good, but I really just thought I had bad salad dressing or something like that. And then when the pain just got really severe, that's when I said, okay, I need to go to the emergency room. It's something else. And then I figured out it was appendicitis. But anyway, so I go into the emergency room, and I'm from Michigan. At the time, I was living in downtown Detroit. And the emergency room that I went into, it's very busy, very urban. There's just a lot going on. And I was living in downtown Detroit at the time too. So I had a Detroit address, and I had been laid off from the mortgage industry at the time. So this was back at the beginning or the middle of the mortgage crisis. So I had moved to downtown Detroit and was going back to school. And I did not have insurance. So I went to the emergency room and no insurance. And basically the doctors, there were between 4 and 5 doctors that would all take turns coming in the room and basically saying how many hospitals have you been to tonight with this story? You don't look like you have appendicitis. We hear stuff like this all the time, basically calling me a liar. And they flat out said to me, which I think is somewhat illegal, they flat out said, you don't have insurance. We're not going to give you a CAT scan for no reason. And I didn't have a fever. So the whole benchmark, or the whole way they would use to diagnose appendicitis, one of the things they would say is a fever.